Meditation. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to remind everyone that all or a portion of the meeting may be live streamed, recorded, and posted on the district's YouTube channel for the purpose of public broadcast and according to board policy. The district disclaims any responsibility or liability for any defamatory or slanderous statements expressed by any member of the public. Any unauthorized recording or rebroadcasting of any video, audio, and/or still image of this meeting is strictly forbidden without the written permission of the board or superintendent. Thank you for everybody's patience. We had an executive session from 6 until 7:05 this evening. We have all members in attendance, but Ms. Deb Hutchinson is on Zoom audio, and Ms. Evans is on audio as well. And do we have anyone signed up for public comment?
We do not.
No public comment this evening. So I don't think we have anybody signed up for presentations either. So we'll start with, we don't have any unfinished business for June, I don't think, Susan, do we?
We do not.
Okay. On Tuesday, we'll be asking for approval of the meeting minutes from June 10th and June 17th. Any questions or comments on those meeting minutes that were provided in our board materials? So then we'll go down to our reports, starting with athletic reports. We have items 1, we have resignations for some coaching positions, and then we will have some hiring of positions. And then we're going to be asking for an addition to the agenda for a girls' head soccer coach. So we can vote on that on Tuesday if there's a name presented to us. There's a purchase order for football equipment reconditioning and a donation, a very generous donation from July Magical Empire we'll be voting to accept on Tuesday. And then number 5, we'll look for that presentation acceptance of alternate football jerseys. What questions do we have for Mr. Gold for items 1, 2, 3, or 4? Hearing none, let's move to number 5. Mr. Gold, do you want to talk about this, right?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, come on up to the podium if you want. Anyone you want to bring with you?
I got to talk now, best I do.
Well, you're scraping the bottom of the barrel for models, huh?
I'll start off with a compliment for these guys. These two here are probably in District 9 the best 1-2 punch quarterbacks around here. There's no question about it. Very proud to have these guys here with me tonight to show you guys the alternate jerseys that the First and 10 Club donated. Josh Greenblatt and I were up here, seems like months ago, talking about some different things and opportunities we have. The kids and the students and the athletes really enjoy the themes. That's a big part of it. Those of you that have been to football games, basketball games, volleyball events, they love the themes. So the First and 10 was like, hey, let's get something that we can do, help out, something the kids enjoy, and they would love to do and get the whole community involved. And that was the one thing that we were talking about, Dr. Smelko and Mr. Gordon and I. These themes, we want the whole community to be involved in them. Our first responders night, which we'll be showing you, the blackout night, we want all the fans to be a part of these. And we have some ideas for that, but it's not just the student sections. We want everybody to be involved in what we're doing, and I think that would be a great showing for all these athletes. So the first responders night we've done, is this the 3rd year, Mr. Gordon? 3rd or 4th year?
Yeah.
It's been doing a while, yep.
Mr. Gordon does a great job of, I won't even put anything on, but he was talking about some really crazy stuff that might happen in this one, so hopefully that
He's always wanted to jump out of an airplane, hasn't he?
So, unfortunately...
I was joking. I don't think we have liability for that.
Unfortunately, we used to have the National Guard, and if you all remember the camo jerseys, and they had the blue numbers. Those are very, very hard to be allowed to wear. You have to get super permission from PIAA president and everything. So got away with that. So we still want to do something. Really want to honor the military, the first responders. It's a great night up there. So Zayden is going to show us, these are what the first responder jerseys look like.
Nice.
So they are gray. They got some stars here. We got the flag, the stars, and then in the back, a lot of the stars. These are checked and double checked. They are allowed. I checked with, actually Coach Snyder checked to make sure. I double checked. That color is allowed for home, so we're all good there. Rydell's not going to make anything that we can't use, but I did check with the head official in District 9, and he said those are good. So that's what we're going to wear week 3. That's our second home game against Bradford. Kids are looking really forward to that, and I think that's going to be an exciting event for us. We're planning on actually having t-shirts for sale that are going to look similar to these that the community can purchase, so we can have as many people wearing that gray for that event. So our next one, and another thing we're talking about, you go to a lot of college games, so whiteouts. That would be awesome. We are not allowed to wear white at home. That is like an absolute no-no for high school. You can't, I couldn't call a team and say, hey, wear your home jerseys, we're wearing white. For some reason, that is not allowed. So the next audit, we're going to do a blackout. So this is one also where we need everybody involved to have a blackout. These jerseys are only going to be worn, they wouldn't be worn during homecoming, senior night, or any team that we wear these colors. And I think we all know what I'm talking about, the couple teams, but that would just not be right. So this would be a team, this is very possible, our last week of the season this year really would be our only opportunity to wear them. That'll be up to the seniors if they want to wear this jersey, but Maddow, Petrick has it. And these are the blackout. These have the groundhog on both sides. So we're keeping the groundhog look in. The black, yellow, or black and red look like Georgia Bulldogs. So that's the blackout. We're going to ask for the whole community. I've been trying to think about how to do that. Mr. Cripple, who does our announcing, we play Carson City the week before that. I want him to be promoting that the whole time during the game. Hey, don't forget, next week's our blackout. If these guys decide to do that for their last home game. But that would be one. These ones would always be worn, the gray ones would always be worn for the first responders night. This one will be worn possibly one time at the most a year, and it would have to be, again, with a team that is not black, red, and blue. So we wanted to make sure we presented that to you guys to just see what the first and 10 purchased. The other thing about, they are taking care of all of them. Talking to Josh Greenblatt, I am taking these off these guys before they leave. They will handle all of them. They will give them to the players a few days before the game, and they're actually going to pick them up Friday night after the game, put them in a bin. I think Coach Snyder said he'll collect them. So they're always going to be in the hands of the first and 10 club, and that way they're not getting lost and things like that. So that's our one presentation. So I appreciate you guys. You guys want anything? Maybe mention just like the themes and what you guys.
Yeah, if I could.
Why don't you give us your names too, if you don't mind?
I'm Zayden Gould. I'm going to be a senior this year.
Okay.
I'm Matt Accessory. I'm also going to be a senior.
Thank you.
I just want to say we really look forward to these games coming up. When we had the camo jerseys, we realized it's our job to go out and play well, and we really try to practice a week to play well. But for like the fans to see everyone, to see us in different color jerseys, it gets us motivated, it gets us all the energy we need for different games. And it's just a cool thing to do in high school that I always look back on. We'll keep our jersey, like our red jerseys, but like to look back on this game and the blackout, that'd be a great thing.
I didn't tell him to say that
either. These black jerseys aren't necessarily like an attempt to change who we are or our colors as a team at all. It's more so just to get some energy into the week, for a fun week for students, players, coaches, everyone involved.
Just one question for the players. If the board votes to accept these jerseys, they guarantee some wins with them on?
Yes.
These two should be.
Right.
So this is recorded, right? This is a verbal contract.
Thank you guys for coming.
Appreciate it.
Thanks. And then, Mr. Gold, you have a couple of discussion items for us, right?
Yeah.
On Central League and streaming.
Yeah, I'm going to have Dr. Smelka help me a little bit with the D9 Central League, but as far as the streaming, really, I guess less than discussion, just we're going to continue doing that. I talked to Mike McMahon about that, and just basically if the board wants to continue doing the streaming of the games. That was kind of my question, because we're getting, it'll be with football and I think volleyball. so-
That was or was not in the budget?
It is in the budget.
It's in the budget.
Okay, so we're good with that, okay. The last thing on here, the D9 Central League, I've actually only been in one Zoom meeting about it, so Dr. Smelko's been kind of going with Mr. Wright's last year about it. It's a new league that they're starting Central PA. There's 11 teams involved in it. Bradford, Brockway, DuBois, DCC, Elk County, Johnsonburg, Kane, Punxsutawney, Ridgeway, St. Mary's, and Sheffield, their junior high program. Their high school goes with more now, but basically what they're doing is they're counting 15 sports, excluding football, soccer, and wrestling. Wrestling has their own D9 division now that they do. But all the other sports are going to have basically a set schedule, and then you can build around the schedule after that. You're playing big schools so many times, little schools so many times, and they're going to have their own championship, their own, and most of the championships are taking place a week before the districts, but it gives the kids more opportunity to collect awards. They're going to have MVPs of the sports, so it gets the athletes some more recognition, especially some of the lesser known sports around. They have a great opportunity. It's going to make the scheduling for all the athletic directors a little easier. So there'll be a set 10 or 11 games already set, and then you can just build around that. So something they're looking forward to. There'll be a membership fees and things for that. They're just trying to figure out. I actually have another meeting on Monday, a Zoom meeting, to get some more information. But Dr. Smelko might be able to fill in a little bit on that.
The plan and the idea was to give the kids as many opportunities as they could, and the goal is to eventually be able to offer our student athletes some scholarships, possibly have them on all-star teams, give them MVP within that central D9 league. And the way our D9 group is set up, we have very, very large schools and we have some very small schools. So the number of kids that we have in comparison, we're a large school. We are considered one of the big schools. Us, DuBois, Bradford, St. Mary's are the 4 big large schools, and the other ones would be considered the small schools. So we will play each other twice in those events, and then we'll have one crossover game where we'll play the smaller schools at least once. The smaller schools will play each other twice and cross over and play us once as a large building or a large division. Again, football, wrestling, those sports are completely separate from this, but it gives the kids an opportunity to just get some different playing time and some different accolades, and then, like I said, the possibility for scholarships and things like that as well is coming down the road. Last school year, D9 committee did a lot of work with that, and Mr. Wrights did have me go with him to different meetings, sit in on different Zooms, knowing that there would be a transition in the athletic office, just so that we could work together to make sure that we're taking care of all those things as we make those changes.
So just in the coaching realm of this, it makes it nice because in all sports you're allowed to play only so many games or matches. There's a point system. These do not count towards points. So it's a chance to get another match or two or game or two without having to use points. And that's another bonus. I know a couple years ago when they started wrestling league, we enjoyed that because I could get kids 3 or 4 matches without having to use any of my so-called points, because it's a league, it's something a league has, so that's, you don't have to count your points for the state for that. So that's another benefit for that. But it's just something that's coming. They're actually starting a lot of it this year. Like, that was kind of nice when I come in the schedules and a lot of that stuff's laid out. But I'll be getting more information as we go along to provide for you guys.
Sounds great.
Any questions? No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, on Tuesday, under transportation, be asking to approve a vehicle list, driver lists, bus and van routes, and then something about parking a bus, awarding the propane fuel bid award, and then it looks like a Honda Civic for driver's ed class. What questions do we have with Mrs. Circala on any of those items?
Is there a recommendation on the propane bid?
would you mind, there was a question on the propane bid. I know that was difficult to secure the first time. We changed some language, right, and put it back?
Yes, Knox Law redid our propane bid for us.
Okay.
And, well, we got them sent out, we opened them on the 18th, and my recommendation is to stick with more propane.
Okay. How many bids did we get back after we reworded it?
2.
Okay. Is that dollar amount similar to what it's been in the past, or is it wildly increased, or is?
It has decreased.
Oh, good. Okay. Any questions on that, on the propane item, or any items on the transportation agenda?
Is that why you choose them, because the decrease for more?
Correct.
It was a 1 cent difference, but there's
Yes,
if
there was
they
a
go
1
over that amount, there's a,
Yes, there's penalties from the other company that bid,
so just.
whether you purchase less or more.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'd rather stay with more than that.
Okay. Anything else for Mrs. Chapala? No, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next, we have buildings and maintenance. We have an agreement there for HydroClean regarding boiler maintenance as number 1, and then we have purchase orders that were supplied in our board packets for number 2, items A through I. Before we go to the informational portion, are there any questions for Mr. Jett on items 1, 2, or their subsets? Hearing none, we have an update or discussion item on elementary building air quality, and Dr. K, you're going to handle that?
Yes.
And I was remiss in not welcoming you to your first official public meeting. You've been hired for a while in the desk, but this is you and Dr. Gaston's first sitting in the chairs up front, right?
It is, yes.
So thank you and welcome, and I'm sorry I didn't mention that earlier.
No, no problem. Thank you.
So go ahead on the elementary building area.
Just an update on our air quality and a potential mold issue that we have discovered and addressed. I'll kind of run through some of the scope and sequence of this. On July 8th, as Carmen and his crew were working their way through the routine cleaning of the grade 3 hall, it was noticed that there was mold in a few of the 3rd grade classrooms. At that time, it was determined that it was likely due to the fact that the air handlers were off in that area due to a power outage. The rooms were closed, they were sealed. The HVAC system was resolved, the rooms were cleaned, they were fogged with a professionally recommended material and solution. We followed that up with the use of a contractor named Firewater Response to conduct an air sample and a physical sample to ensure that everything was certified to be resolved. Just prior to their arrival, there was some additional mold found in, this is on July 17th, in 2 2nd grade classrooms. Just to note, there was summer school going on in the building. However, to be clear, there were no students in any of the rooms of concern. Out of caution, Mr. Donald moved students out of that hallway to a different location to complete their work for the day. And at that point, we did pause summer school and we contacted the families of those students and families who were participating in summer school. Firewater did conduct their assessment. Humidity levels were found to be too high. Carmen addressed this with the engineers and the contractors. Different settings were utilized on the units, and we had added some large barn fans to circulate the air. Their initial assessment was, or indicated that there were acceptable levels in all rooms but one. That room was further cleaned. And as we speak right now, they are currently cleaning and fogging all rooms that were of concern and also running air scrubbers. And this will go on all through the weekend and be retested on Monday morning, in which case we believe we will be certified to be clear to return, and we'll proceed with summer feeding, summer school. And then I asked also that we would retest the building about 10 days prior to the start of school so that we can ensure that everything is where it needs to be.
Any questions on the mold issue and the cleanup? No? Okay, great. Next, we have cafeteria report that we asked being approved on Tuesday. We have some, under number 1, some price changes we're notified of. We have some asking for permission to dispose of some equipment under number 2. Purchase orders are provided to us under number 3. Do we have any questions for Mrs. Phillips on 1, 2, or 3, or their subsets?
I have one question for Carmen I forgot to ask.
Okay.
How's the playground going? Is it,
Oh, thanks, Carmen. Yeah, do we have a playground update?
is it on schedule?
Yeah, so far. We are, the guys are setting form. We're gonna start cementing probably Monday or Tuesday, the walkways. First load of rubber will be here probably Tuesday or Wednesday. That crew will be here the following week as of now, weather depending, so we are on track.
Still looking okay for the start of the school year?
Yeah,
Good.
if everything works. Weather depending, you know.
Gotcha. Thank you. Chad, was that good?
Yeah, that's good.
All right,
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, so I didn't hear any questions on 1 through 3 on cafeteria. Are
I
there?
have a general question
Yep.
about cafeteria.
Yep.
If I recall, previously we were running a huge fund balance in cafeteria. And then I know there was money spent to do capital improvements, basically. So can we have an update as to like where we stand now with fund balance? I noticed we're increasing cost for meals. We just kind of wondered.
Do you want to do that, or do you want to? Go.
I'll let Lindsay if she would like.
Lindsay, if you don't mind.
I'm sorry, can you repeat your question? Where we stand right now with the fund balance?
Let's
Is what
start
you wanna
there.
know? Well, we are undergoing this project right now. However, there's been no payments made yet. So our fund balance is, still quite large. I don't want to say for sure exactly how much is in the account without looking at the bank statement, but I want to say, I don't know if you can recall from the last month, 1.1 or 1.2 million in there. So that's kind of where we stand. Now I get smaller reimbursements through the summer. My last one was around $11,000. And then I kind of, into August, because my bills go up in August, but I'm not getting that higher reimbursement. So that kind of helps a little bit, like at the beginning of the school year. Like, June is a month where I get a higher subsidy check, but I have way lower bills because of summer feeding. So then that kind of evens out when we get into like August and September. And then as this project finishes up, we'll pay out the portion of the cafeteria funds for that.
Do you forecast that when the project's over, we're still going to have a large fund balance?
Yes.
So can I ask what the rationale is for the increased costs?
Well, the garlic knots is just a little one. We don't sell very many at all. I think last year it was like 30, but the price increased, I want to say from 39 cents last year to 45, and I was only charging 50 cents a garlic knot, so it was just getting a little close for comfort. I mean, we have to cover at least our costs, and traditionally, there was always a little bit of a price markup, but in the years I've been here, I have probably increased prices very little. I really don't do it unless I feel like it's getting a little too close.
On the cost per item, when you say too close, do you mean too close relative to the cost for each item?
Right, so
not
like
the
45
total?
cents is the cost I'm paying, and I'm only charging 50 cents per roll. So it was only a 5-cent difference. So that was the reasoning that I bumped that up a little bit. However, you guys can decide how you want to. Now, the adult meal and the adult breakfast is kind of determined by, not kind of, it is determined by PDE. So that's all based off of like our reimbursement amount. So basically when I apply through the state for a National School Lunch Program, they say, and I put in a note on there that, so like this year, the minimum required price for breakfast and adult meals is $2.94, so I rounded up to $3. The minimum price for an adult lunch is $4.85, so I rounded up to $5. But I cannot, they will not accept my application unless I'm at that or over that for the adult meal price. So I increased the adult meal price last year because PDE's, regulations on adult meal pricing, and this year it's happening again, so that's where that pricing is coming from.
I only asked the question because, and maybe I don't totally understand it, so I state that up front.
That's okay.
But if we're running huge fund balances, but we're still increasing costs, and you're still within the minimum charge required, then I don't I know we also did an increase in cost to Head Start, if I recall, too.
Yes, very small this year. Yeah.
So that's where I kind of struggle is like, you know, we're going to continue to build this fund balance, even though it's minor amounts. It's like, why do we increase it all if we have fund balances?
Yeah, understandable.
So can we just, is there a reason we shouldn't ask, like give you a directive to just sell our food at cost? Is it, you know, we're not in the business of making money, whether it's a penny or a dime on a meal. You know, it'd be one thing if we needed to build that fund balance for some sort of project or to help mitigate future inflation costs, but
Right.
I don't think we're there. I mean, can we just do what the minimum mandate is to cover the cost and not take any more?
For the adult meals, yes.
Okay.
And for all of our other pricing, like I said, most of my pricing all comes from previous to when I was here,
Yeah.
and I have not increased many of those prices. I think last year the only prices I brought to you were new items even. I really have tried not to. And so, you know, those prices really have not increased since before my time, you know. So I don't know if...
I guess the question is, should we be decreasing some of the costs because we have an extensive fund balance because we can't pay for the entire kitchen project out of your fund balance. We're using a considerable amount from the district.
Right.
So we either, I don't think you have any other large purchases that we can use, or do you have some other plan for spending down the fund balance? I guess that's the question.
I wouldn't say a huge amount. I mean, a lot of the equipment has been replaced or is going to be replaced. I have a few other items like built into my budget, but small, you know, a couple warmers, you know, those types of things. I have a few pieces of equipment that haven't been replaced,
So
but small and minor.
rather than risk needing to return the excess funds we have, I think the question is, should we be reducing prices so that our students can, you know, benefit from reduced
Right.
prices?
And like I said, I mean, at the very bare minimum, we have to cover our costs. So that
Right.
would be the only, you know, I have to make sure we're at least covering the cost into us, you know.
So sell it
Yeah.
at cost is, I think, what he's asking,
Yes,
right?
that's what we're all
I
asking.
guess
Can we
we
just
just,
start
you know,
selling things at cost?
In my head, I'm thinking, you got this budget, you know, it includes certain things, including the building project, and you know, if you increase costs, you know, how does that forecast for the rest of the year? So where are we gonna stand next June if we're still at hundreds of thousands of dollars of surplus? It would seem to me that we don't really need to increase costs, you know, but again, I ask that only because, like, I, for example, is your wages in that budget?
Right.
So, you know, I don't know what all those costs are, but it would seem to me we should be able to project from now, knowing what your expenditures are gonna be for the building project, what you're proposing for increasing costs, and, you know, what all the costs are to operate the cafeteria, that here's where I'm gonna stand at the beginning of next year.
Right. I mean,
Would you be willing, how bad is it gonna set things back if we ask you to give us more of a breakdown on costs of presenting a report that would be keeping all the food prices at cost and not approving this month? Would that mess you up? Like, what would that,
I usually bring it to you guys this month so I can make any changes that I need to make for the start of the school year.
Okay.
We don't have an August board meeting, so I don't know how that would work, you know, for the very start of the school year, or, you know.
Bob brings up a good point, and I would have missed it, Bob, so thanks for hitting on it. I think that with the fund balance we have, and without any real justification as to how we're going to spend that down over the next year or two, we're not real thrilled about increasing costs on any of these more than just to cover what it costs us to provide to the student.
And like I said,
Is
the
that
adult
accurate?
meal prices.
Or if you
do
just
have to
keep
be
them
higher.
at
You set the minimum
the
payment
price that they're
requirements.
at,
Yeah,
right?
and I know, yes, to your point, there are some things that are mandated.
Yeah, the adult meal prices
The adult meal
are,
prices.
yeah. And the other prices, like I said, have been with me since before my time. And I just basically every year I go through and make sure that, you know, I'm pricing everything out again, making sure we're covered as to what the price is. And I only ever increase the price if maybe that gap is getting a little bit too close. So.
I don't know if this would be too hard, and I'm sorry to keep pushing it, but
That's okay.
if you could, if you even forecast what these increases are, then it'd be nice to see the budget for the 12 months to to see where do you forecast, given any catastrophes that will come up, where will we be at the end of June? And I think that in itself will help guide us to, like, you know, we're raising revenue that we really don't need, and again, as Matt said, we really just want to cover our costs.
Mhm. So to your point, you would like to see, like, at cost, what the difference is going to be in the fund.
Or
by the
even
end of
if
the
you,
year.
even if you don't change these now, or we don't act on this now, if you use these proposals and, you know, continue with what you've been doing in the past with your other prices, we should, you know, you should be able to forecast for 12 months where we're gonna be.
Right.
So, I mean, again, it's an estimate, and, you know, God knows things happen that we don't plan.
Right.
But if you're still hundreds of thousands of dollars, you know, in the good, you know, it would seem like we may want to take a look at, like, is there anything we could do to help kids and adults, whatever, you know, I got the adult issue at BD, so.
So we need to go the whole way to the $5 for the adult meals, or $4.85, did you say?
Well, at the very bare minimum, $4.85.
Okay.
And the very bare minimum for breakfast, $2.94. So I can.
And then garlic knots cost you how much?
45 cents.
45.
And they're currently 50, but you want to take them to 75.
Right. Like I was charging 50.
So we could just leave them at 50.
If that's what you guys want, yeah.
I would be in favor for Tuesday, putting a line through the garlic knots, leaving them alone, going adult meal, getting them to $4.85 for what the state requires, and doing the adult breakfast, what, the $2.94.
Okay.
We just like having a round number. Is that why you? Is that
Yeah, I
the
mean,
reason
for
for
payments and things. I
For
mean,
kids?
everything's done electronically, so.
So nobody's
I mean,
having to
it's
count
not like
pennies.
someone's going to be counting out coins, you know. So it will be fine.
So an adult who comes and buys lunch, they pay electronically.
Yes,
They don't
like
give
they
you
have an
$3
account.
and then the cashier has to give them 6
Yeah,
cents.
they open an account like
Okay,
the
like the
students have.
students. Okay.
Yeah, we don't accept like any cash, like transactions. We only accept cash or checks as like a deposit into an account.
Is everybody okay if we put a line through the garlic knot increase, do adult meals to the required $4.85 and the breakfast to $2.94?
Yes.
Are you okay updating the agenda for that
Yep.
for Tuesday?
Got it.
Thank you. Anything else for Mrs. Phillips
Thank you.
on those? If you want to stay up here,
Ask away.
anything on, that's items 1 through 3, and then you were going to do an update on the kitchen equipment project, right?
Yes,
Okay.
so currently the kitchen project is on track. The deadline is August 8th. The installation has not happened yet. They are to be here Monday morning. So they will be working Monday, or the next 2 weeks at both schools. There has been a small amount of demolition that's happened. They've taken out the coolers, some of the hot wells, that type of thing. Our salad bar is now out of there. So they got started with some demolition, but a majority of the work will be taking place in the next 2 weeks. And they still are on track to be done by August 8th, which was the deadline.
Okay. Any questions on project update? No.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Bob, nice catch on that. Thanks.
Thank you guys.
Garlic knots each all the time.
I wanted to do a line on how to vote for garlic knots. I'll always vote yes to that, regardless of price. Anyway, federal programs and curriculums. We have Dr. Gaston who's presenting this report, and she's going to be asking us for the purchase order approval of those 4 items, a school-wide board affirmation statement that was provided to us, an agreement with Catapult for Title I services, and an RFP for school support specialist services. So let's welcome Dr. Gaston to her first official public meeting with a bunch of questions.
Okay, thank you. So you have provided with you the school-wide board affirmation statement that dictates how our federal programs are utilized here, specifically talking about our TSI plan and what our goals are as a district and how we're trying to approach student performance. I'm getting familiar with our plans as we get into the meat of our work here. So if you do have any questions on that.
What's NWEA meant?
So that is an assessment tool that we use throughout the district to gain our student progress as they progress through each school year. It's a widely utilized tool in districts across the state. That assessment data is provided in Linkit reports, so that I haven't had the chance to dig into that yet, but that's a great tool to progress monitor.
Thank you.
For item number 4, for the school support services,
Yes.
I think we rebid that out. Are we going to see the information on that?
Yes, I have
Okay.
that prepared for you.
It's just not on here now.
It's
Okay.
not, and that's my fault, I was away that day. I believe there were.
We'll give you a pass since it's your first meeting.
We had 5 applicants. Clear came in with the lowest bid. They also provide that stability
Right.
in our mental therapy support for our students. I think that's important to recognize, having the same professionals in the building that our students are familiar with, who've done an incredible job at the high school and elementary level. They're also the only local bid that we had, and that's important when we think about staffing. So the support therapists are hard to come by. That field in particular is a lower filled field within our rural communities. So the fact that our staffing is local and it's consistent, I think, is the best option to make sure that our students have access to the supports that they need.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Dr. Gaston on items 1 through 4? And then you wanted to give us an update on title funding, because that's something that's in flux at the federal level, right?
Yes, so on the afternoon of June 30th, we received notice from Pennsylvania Department of Education that title programs 2 through 4 were canceled. So Title I, we all know, provides that extra support for our learners across the district, has not been altered in any way. Titles 2 through 4 provide the things that we think of as the extra supports. So that provides some funding for professional development within the districts. It provides some funding for that extra support, for example, our school support therapist. 2 of those were funded through those programs. So it took a little bit of scrambling with Jean Mack, who has been a lifesaver for me as I get acclimated to how the district operates, and especially our title programs. So what I want the board to know is that through intentional and responsible use of our ESSER funds and our title funds over the last 3 years, we were able to absorb this change. The total funding that's lost is $272,053. But we've been able to quickly, thanks to Jean, look at that reporting and that balancing and be able to cover those costs and have some reserve for things that may need to be adjusted throughout the school year. Keeping that in mind, if these changes remain in place, we're going to have to do some strategic forecasting for the years to come and consider where that support is best utilized and how to maintain the things that we have that are positives for our kids.
Are you saying, okay, so we're absorbing 272,053, you said 272,000?
Yes.
Was that in our budget?
No, that is within the federal program's budget. So outside of the general fund, through our applications and what we received from the federal government based on our need. We have a consolidated school-wide program, so they look at the entire building, and a lot of that funding also takes care of the needs of our non-public schools. So that all comes in one bucket because of the way that we've organized our federal programming. That budget was enhanced with some of the ESSER funds that existed, so we would pay for things using ESSER and title from the years previous. The way that we have our organization established allows some of that flexibility. Because those things were managed carefully, we have enough remaining in those budgets to absorb that cost.
There's no expiration on those funds?
There is expiration. We need to close the 23-24 amounts out. Most of those are being closed out as we speak. And the rest of that has been, there's a plan for that money to absorb those. So yeah, we have to spend that down. Dr. K and I have spoke extensively about this, and I've relied on his expertise in that field. What our goal is to close everything out at the end of this year so that we can start fresh with that intentional forecasting and planning for the years ahead.
No fear of rescission on those funds?
I don't know that I can answer that at this time. There are weekly tech meetings with the folks from federal programming. So Jean and I are both attending those webinars on a weekly basis so that we stay ahead of information to the best of our ability.
No update on Title I funding.
No, as of right now, there's been no change. My understanding is that all federal funds in this bucket are being reviewed. But there's been no movement on Title I. I don't anticipate that, but I can't predict.
Okay.
Any other questions for Dr. Gaston? No, thank you. All right, next we have the superintendent report by Dr. K. On Tuesday's meeting, he's going to request approval for conference of field trips, MOU with the Pennsylvania State Police, Soaring Heights, Adagio, and a resolution for electronic signatures, agreement for news story, and then we were given role and responsibility training to consider, and we're looking at dates for that with the PSBA. And any questions on 1 through 7 for Dr. K? Anything you want to add, Dr. K, on 1 through 7?
No.
Okay. And then review and discussion regarding policy 209.2. If you want to lead us through that.
Sure. Can I ask a question before we?
Yeah.
Do we know how many students actually go to News Story that we end up, providing News Story funds for?
I can get you those numbers.
I was gonna say, I don't have the number.
Follow up on a group email on that one?
Yep.
Thanks.
Discussion on policy 209.2. There was, Mrs. Evans, did you want to share your...
I can go ahead and let you know what changes that I think that should be made to this policy. Mainly, I'm just going to put it this way. There was a student last year that was told that he was not able to carry his diabetic medication and his insulin, his, all of the information, his pack or the kit that they have to be able to change their site area or, and it has their insulin and everything in it. He was told that he was not allowed to carry that to and from school on the bus, and that if he goes on any school trip, that he is not allowed to have that with him. So I really think that this needs to be changed because it's detrimental to their health. One, because most of these kids that have had diabetes since they were small children know how to manage their diabetes. We do need to have, something from the physician stating that they've been trained, they know how to change their site, they know how to administer their insulin, if it's low, if it's high, word for word instructions on how they should be doing that should be received by the school. Also, if they don't have it, it's really something that it is going to be detrimental to their health because, if their blood sugar's low and they don't have anything to get their blood sugar, back up or down, there's chances of going into, shock. So really would like to have those things change, that they're able to have that just as long as they have the word for word note or whatever from their physician. Also, it does state they were, the parents and everybody were told that if they administer their own insulin and they take care of their own site and they do all of that, that the school nurse doesn't need to monitor them. Well, I don't think that that's true. I think that should be done. I still think that the school nurse should monitor any kid that has diabetes in our school and just make sure that they're doing okay making sure that, that everything is good, with them, but they do still need to be monitored by the school nurse. Those are my major concerns with this. If you read the policy and you have any other input in on it, but those are the two things that this parent came to me with, that she's afraid that if her son now goes on, away, from the, on a school either trip or, he's going to be playing sports, and he plays the sports and his sight gets, damaged or whatever, for him not to be able to carry that with him and to replace it like he knows how to do, it could be, detrimental. So I really would like to see that they're able to carry that to and from sporting events and also to and from school, especially.
So that complaint and that issue rose to the level where Dr. K was asked to relook at this policy, right?
I did.
Correct.
So I ran that situation past our general solicitor, and just to regroup everyone, on page 3, I think Mrs. Evans captured the essence of this, but I'll run through it again. Students are allowed to carry life-saving medications, specifically diabetic management medications and the other monitoring tools. But there's a couple things that need to happen first. There needs to be, and these are steps 1 through 5. There needs to be a written request from the parent. There needs to be a written statement from the student's health care provider that includes the things that are written there, A through I. Specifically, whether the child is competent and able to self-administer this medication or monitoring equipment safely themselves. There needs to be a written acknowledgement from the school nurse that the student has demonstrated that they are capable of doing this, and then a written acknowledgement from the student that they have had the proper training and instruction from their physician to do this. So there's a number of steps, really 4 key things that need to happen there, and our solicitor felt that if they followed those 4 things, then being able to administer in school and sporting events and so forth should, that covers it. It also says in here that if we don't have those written acknowledgments, then we need to make sure that it's provided for that child. So the one piece that I can bring back up in terms of monitoring, that for example, after school events, it's not stated specifically in there about the nurse monitoring them after school hours, and I'm not sure that we can discuss that. If that is what the written directions are from their doctor, their parent, the student's been informed, then it should be logged and indicated perhaps in their the directions for administration. I would expect, but we can be more specific.
Well, the one paragraph that states in our policy, it states, students shall be permitted from sharing, giving, selling, and using diabetic medications and monitoring equipment in any manner other than which is prescribed during school hours, at any time while on school property, at any school-sponsored activity, or during the time spent traveling to and from school. Violations of this. It just reads like it's it's going to be a violation for them to carry it to and from school and to and from these school-sponsored activities. So I think that we need to reword that in a way that it's going to allow these students to be able to, carry these needed medications and their site changes, their kit that they have that, that they can change their, their site.
Dee Dee, some of us are scratching our heads here. The way I'm reading it is, as long as it's prescribed to be used in a certain manner, they can do that during school hours or on school property. But if it's not prescribed, that's what that's prohibiting. So is that, am I reading that?
You can't give your medicine to another kid or sell it or, right?
Right.
I mean, that's a
Oh,
problem.
right.
Yeah.
I don't see where it violates what you're
No, I mean,
talking about, Dee Dee. I don't interpret it that way,
no,
in my opinion.
the policy says that they can carry this stuff if they meet the checkbooks, and there's four categories. If they violate that on whatever page this is, the last page, the top paragraph, that they violate it by sharing, giving, selling, using diabetic medication, monitoring equipment, yada, yada, yada. If they give it to somebody else, they use it improperly, then they lose their privileges. But they have the privileges if they check those 4 boxes.
Yeah. Was this with any changes or no?
No, this came right off our webpage.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I may have, I just want to make sure that, you know, that we are monitoring all of our diabetic kids. All of our diabetic kids should be monitored. Should this actually be added to be able to have this on the bus to and from school, or does it say that?
Says it.
From school?
And transportation to or from.
I think transportation's on here.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Dee, it sounds like when the last incident happened, they simply weren't following policy. Somebody wasn't following the existing policy.
Yeah, it sounds like maybe they need to just sit down and get clarification on what they can and can't do and get it figured out. I don't.
So the recommendation
Doesn't
from the
affect
solicitor
me.
and from the administration is to leave it unchanged?
Correct, at this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and I don't have any consensus about
Just have
changing
that
it.
person
Yeah.
sit down with the
Yeah.
nurse or
So yeah, if
whoever and get
if
it
this is an
ironed out.
ongoing issue, Dee Dee, with the parent in question, have them reach out to the administration and talk to them about it, so we can, you know, if we need to do a policy change, we'll look at it, but I don't see anything that's being violated right now.
You may have to just have staff be updated on the policies as well, so they're.
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
violated.
I definitely would want the nursing staff to be updated on this, because they're the ones that told him that he couldn't have it on the bus. Couldn't carry it.
If you want to share a student name privately with Dr. K or his team, then maybe they can look into that.
Sure, I can do that.
Okay.
And we'll update the nursing staff to ensure that they are
Trained on that.
reappraised.
I'll remove that from the revised agenda then, okay?
Yeah. Okay, we'll move on then, unless there's anything else for Dr. K. Seeing none, we'll move on to building principal reports. We have approval requests on Tuesday for student handbooks of the elementary school, the iPad handbook, and the E-Academy handbook. That's under the elementary. Do we have any questions on A for Mrs. Richardson, on A, B, or C, or anything else for Mrs. Richardson?
Have there been any changes to the student handbook?
They were on a memo. Did you get the memo?
If I
It's the
did.
first page of that link.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're all outlined for you. There is a snafu here. If you go to page, I think it's page 6, there's been a change in the lunch schedule. We went back to last year's, not this past year, the last year. Kindergarten will be eating lunch alone. So instead of 6th grade they're eating by themselves, that should say 5 and 6. Next period will be 3 and 4. Next period will be 1 and 2. And then kinders will be the last by themselves.
Okay.
That got,
And are you going to update that?
well, we can have that updated for you.
If you want to update for it, so then just, we have a good copy for Tuesday's vote. And then if anybody, even off the top of their head, if they don't have questions on any of these revisions, if you want to look through that and send the administrative team an email with any questions you have on the handbook.
Homework section was added back in, as was after-school detention or something. Or is that the high school?
Should we do after school detention in there? I think we did.
Yes, we did.
I don't,
We did that out the disciplinary work.
we did add that to that, yeah. As an option.
Right.
Any questions for the elementary team? No? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next we'll have the high school. We'll be voting on Tuesday for their student handbook changes and 21st Century Learning Initiative update, the student council rules and bylaws, skill builder course, study skills course, and accepting a donation for Red Zone t-shirts from the First and 10 Club. So what questions do we have of Dr. Smelko before we go into the informational portion? Anything on 1 through 6?
I have a couple questions about the handbook.
Yep.
The language temporary suspensions versus full suspensions,
Yes.
is that new language? Or has that always been?
The previous language stated temporary suspension, full suspension, but it was never clearly, it wasn't as clearly defined as it could have been. So we went in and identified a temporary suspension is 1 to 3 days. A full suspension is 4 to 10 days, depending on.
So those were terms that were used, but no numbers were attached to them.
That is correct.
Okay.
It was within the.
It was in the paragraphs.
The paragraphs,
So it
yes.
was never defined within our
Matrix.
grade of consequences.
Yes.
And then,
I have a question.
so
Hold on just a second, Dee Dee. Chad's just following up. Thanks.
with a full suspension, the way I'm understanding it is a temporary suspension is assigned by the principals. A full suspension is assigned by the superintendent,
No.
the administration, or the board of school directors.
Because
Administration could be you.
Yes,
Okay.
a full suspension could lead to the level of an
Expulsion.
expulsion hearing.
Okay.
And that's where the board and the superintendent would be more involved if we got to that level of a
Okay,
consequence.
gotcha.
If a suspension is more than 4 or more days, it requires an informal hearing or possibly even a hearing in front of the board. So that's how it was differentiated between a temporary suspension versus a full.
Okay. And there's also some language in here, I believe this is new too, about banning students from extracurricular activities.
Correct.
So I think it's going to be important for students to know that this is if you get caught with a vape on a first offense, you're getting a 2-week
Yes.
suspension from that sport or from
extracurricular.
any extracurricular
Yes.
activity.
That would
If
be
it's your 3rd offense, you're done. You're off the team.
for
Is
the
that
season.
for the season?
If it,
Seconds for the season.
yeah, second is for the season.
Second is for the season.
The third is, you're done completely.
Okay.
Yes.
So as long as that's going to be, just make sure that's communicated to students, because that is a change. I think it's a good change, a necessary change, but.
We met today with Mr. Gold, and one of the things that we said when we have the coaches meetings for the fall sports, I think that needs to be directly explained to the coaching staff.
Mhm.
And then as well, when we go into the individual parent meetings, when the coaches have those parent meetings, we will make sure that everyone is understanding what that means. That includes any type of vaping device, a nicotine vaping device, a THC vaping device, alcohol-controlled substances, anything possible within that, where they get caught with those items. It could result in them not being permitted to participate in extracurriculars, which extends outside of the sports realm. That could mean band and chorus concerts, musical productions, theater productions, their variety show for the seniors, any number of extracurricular activities. If they're in mock trial, if they're in one of the clubs and they're going on a trip, that would prevent them from being able to participate in those extracurricular activities.
Does it say it could prevent you or it will prevent you?
It will prevent them. I'm saying could, I want the kids to understand that could be, I guess I shouldn't say could, that will be the response to violating those different policies and the things within our handbook.
Can they appeal that? Is there an appeal process?
Whenever if there is an informal hearing, at that point, that's when we have a more formal discussion. If it's a larger suspension, we always open the opportunity for parents to come in and have a discussion with us about any consequence that their child's receiving, any discipline that they're receiving. But for the most part, we explain this is what the board has approved. This is what has typically been ran by our solicitors as well, and they have supported and approved the superintendent, assistant superintendent. So we explained to the parents, these are the rules, and unfortunately, especially if we're letting the children and the parents know ahead of time, they know that they sign off, that they've read the handbook and understand it fully and accept what the information is in that book as well, so.
Did they get a summary of the changes in the handbook from the previous year?
I would like to put out something a little different this year. We have not done that in the past, but I think with major changes like this, we need to communicate with the parents as much as possible, whether that be social media, our website. When we have I'll be talking about the Meet the Teacher night, I think explaining that in a meeting, informing that in that way. Maybe even offering something additional once the school year starts, if parents have questions, that we can pull them in to have a meeting about that with them so that they know. Give as many opportunities as possible too for them to ask questions, because this is definitely a change that.
A letter home.
Yes.
I mean, there are a lot of, I don't want to say, I don't know if there's a lot of changes. I think maybe it's more clarifying language, but I think there's also additional, I look at like bullying or vandalism, there's now referrals to the superintendent for these things, which I think it's, maybe some at our urging that, there is, I don't want to say harsher penalties, but there are consequences.
There are very, very strict restroom expectations that have been added and clearly defined in regards to what they're doing in the restrooms and what that looks like and what the consequences look like for that.
So I think as best as we can communicate to them, because I know what happens is a lot of times we send these forms home, hey, you acknowledge this, but did you actually read it? And then when their student gets in trouble, then they read it, and then, so.
Yes, our handbook's 43 pages.
I was going to say, that's 40-some pages.
It's 43 pages of light reading for some people. And again, I mean, my daughter's a senior. I've read the handbook more so when she was in 7th grade. I think a lot of parents, they read it whenever their kids first maybe enter the high school, but they know there might be changes, but these are some drastic changes that I think they need to know. And be able, like I said, given an opportunity to ask those questions about those changes, why those changes have been made, things like that.
And this is part of professional development for the teachers. Is it going through these handbook updates as well?
Yes.
Okay.
That is one of the first things we do in our back to school meeting, in our faculty meeting. Mr. Gordon and I, our faculty meeting last year, I think was like 2 hours long. And they get a folder with everything in it that they could possibly need. But one of the big things that we do go over with them is the handbook changes, the changes to their teacher handbooks, things like that, to make sure that they're all on the same page as well.
Great. Okay. What do we have here? Sorry.
I had a question.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Dee Dee. I missed you there. I got
okay.
distracted. Go ahead.
My concern was with last year, and I'm sorry this isn't about the high school, but this is more geared towards the elementary school, that when they did have kids in suspension, there were times that kids would get in trouble, but their suspension wouldn't be until the next week. Or they would do the suspension, and if it was like a 3-day suspension, they'd have it like on a Tuesday, then they would have it Wednesday, then they'd have it next week. I thought that suspension was supposed to be day after day after day.
Policy says to be
if they're
consecutive.
going to have those, if they're going to have the suspension. So I really want that looked into, and I would really like to see it be consistent to where it's 3 days in a row, or or however many days it is, like if it's in school. So also the suspension rooms, I don't think that a kindergartner should be in with a 6th grader. I don't know. I don't think kindergarten or 1st grade should be in any kind of suspension. I think they need to be in more of a, maybe taken away from the class and doing whatever they need to do to help, these children in kindergarten and 1st grade.
Well, since that's not necessarily a handbook issue, why don't we give the administration some time to collect some information as to how the current process is, or last year's was, and what recommendations they have to change for our next meeting. Would that be all right, Dee Dee?
Yep,
Okay.
that'd be fine.
Okay. Getting back to the high school, we got through, I think, through items 1 through 6 that are going to be asked for votes on Tuesday. What about the informational items you wanted to bring up to us, Dr. Smelko?
Before I do that, I just
sorry.
want to show you real quick.
This is the shirt.
This is the shirt the Red Zone will give for all of the 7th graders.
Nice.
So we worked with the 1st and 10. The idea was our 7th graders are coming in for transition day, which is also one of our updates on here, so I can kind of maybe jump to that real quick. They'll come in on the 19th for transition day, welcome day, and we'll walk them through their schedule. We'll explain what the high school schedule looks like. They'll actually physically get their schedules, things like that, their iPads, learn how to log in. But every student that signs up ahead of time and completes the form will be able to get a Red Zone shirt. And then we're also going to make sure that we advertise for those students as well as the community when we do the meet the teacher night. Our first home football game is on a Saturday. It is Saturday, August 23rd this year, which is a little bit different than what we have done in the past. But our thought was we're kind of bringing in those 7th graders with a little bit of school spirit. They'll actually have their shirts before anybody else in the high school has their shirts, so it's maybe some bragging rights for them. But to try and encourage them to, come to the football game, participate, wear them on that when we wear them on Fridays at school, things like that. So the 1st and 10 graciously is going to be donating shirts for each one of the students. I just want to make sure any parents know they have to complete the form that tells us they're coming to the transition day and then provide us with the sizes for their child, so we can make sure that we get those orders to Mr. Greenblatt to get the shirts taken care of. We are having our in-service days August 21st and 22nd. Last year, we did something new. We did a Meet the Teacher night for all of our students and parents. Part of transition day that is sometimes a little bit harder for our parents that are coming in with those students that have not been at the high school yet. That day is not for parents. Transition day is strictly for the students. We have them drop them off at the door. I say go grab a cup of coffee, read a book, go shopping, do what you gotta do, come back and get them at noon. And I know for a new parent or a parent maybe that's had a student in the high school, that can be a little bit scary because they want to be in the building too. They want to see where their kids' classes are going to be, see who their teachers are, and help be able to make their students feel as comfortable as possible for the first day of school, because it is a huge change for them. The high school does not run in terms of scheduling and things like that the way that the elementary school does, and there's a lot more responsibility put on the students. So we will do the transition day on the 19th, and then on the 21st from 4:30 to 7:30 we will do our Meet the Teacher night, and that will follow right after the first day of in-service for our teachers. And again, the plan is not just for our 7th grade parents, but all students 7 through 12 will be able to come to the high school, get their schedules, see what they have, what their classes are, make sure that everything looks good, walk the halls if they need to, meet the teachers that their child's going to have for the upcoming year, kind of in place of what would have been a traditional open house. We've put with this. Last year we had a huge success. A lot of people came. There was a lot of positive feedback that we got about having this event, so we'd like to do that again.
Good. Any questions for Dr. Smelko on either of those items?
I don't have a question. Yeah, one question.
Hold on, Katie's put her hand up before I heard you, so we'll get Katie first and then Cindy.
I don't have a question for Dr. Smelko, but I have for the elementary. Are they doing something similar for the students?
Yeah, we're working on it, but we do have a schedule. Same thing, Thursday night, Friday night, taking off Monday, because it's the first day of school, and then Tuesday and Wednesday.
Because last year we had some parents that felt very unaware of what was going on. That came from SSC, the Christian school, or another district that moved here, and they were like out of the loop, and they did not know like pickup and things like that.
That will be August 12th.
That's going to be August 12th?
At 5:30.
At 5:30? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Cindy.
Dr. Smelka, you mentioned the 7th graders getting T-shirts and that they would have their shirts before the rest of the student body. Does the whole student body end up getting new T-shirts every year?
No. First and 10 typically will sell the red zone shirts. Did you know the price yet? They're $5. $5. A shirt. Wait, everyone buys one. Yes.
They sell fast.
Yeah, we typically have to ask for more to be printed.
$5.
We thought it was just a nice gesture for the new students coming in to give them something to welcome them to the high school. And the First and 10 said, we'll donate the shirts for those new students. And that would be also, if we do have upperclassmen that come in, that welcome day is not just for 7th grade. Typically, though, that is the majority of our students. So if we wouldn't have any upperclassmen that come in at that point, the other plan is we will have these ready for that Meet the Teacher night. So as the kids are coming in, if they want them for that first home football game so that they're ready, they'll be able to buy them. And we'll make sure that they know that as well.
Okay, one other question. Do they use them for anything other than football?
The kids wear them typically all year to different sporting events. The First and 10 Club just does this as part of one of their activities. I would say it's necessarily a fundraiser, but they typically make.
There's nothing specific to the sport on the shirt, Cindy.
Right. Well, I guess, are they available for purchase somehow all year long? Like if we had a family moves into the district with 2 kids in the high school in December, is it like a spirit day, everybody wear your red zone shirt, and these kids aren't going to have red zone shirts?
We've had extras in the past that would be available.
Okay.
Something that we've been working on too, Mr. Higley is our varsity club advisor, and we've been talking about the possibility of apparel throughout the year for the kids to be able to buy for the various sporting events and different activities that they would want.
That answers it all. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, what's DITEP training?
So this is a training that I went to at the end of June at Jeff Tech. Dr. Gaston was there. I think it was her very last day before she transitioned with us. And our school nurse at the high school, Shannon Carpenter, went with me as well. And it is drug impairment training for educator professionals. So we went through a 2-day training that taught us more about what we need to be watching for with our kids in terms of drug and alcohol use.
Detection perspective, is that what
Yes,
you're saying?
it was presented by a state trooper that this is his area of specialty, his area of expertise. And it was by far one of the best professional development, I think, opportunities I've had in a very long time. It was wonderful. There were a lot of nurses from other schools and principals, and all of us were together for the training. It is specifically for educators so that we know what signs to watch for, unfortunately, in our kids, and what some of those indicators may be, so that if there is a problem, we have a way to get them some help. And it gives you a very guided way of looking at physically what signs are they exhibiting and what could they be using or doing that is providing us with what we're seeing in front of us. From the nursing perspective, I don't want to speak for Ms. Carpenter because she's not here, but it gives everything from pupil sizes to heart rates to it's a very well planned and laid out form that you start at the top and it goes right down through, and it tells you what to look for, what different tests that you can give, and things that you can look for the indicators for the students for those different things.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Gordon and Mr. Buller are going to the one in Du Bois in August, so that
Great.
they can also have training for them as well.
Great. Any other questions for Dr. Smelka? None? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda will be the financial report for approval. Make any changes? Nothing to this, right? Okay. There'll be item 1, which are financial summary. That does include the cafeteria balance on 2
Yeah.
The purchase orders, number 2, and many letters after that, including the pretty large checks we have to write for cyber schools. Then we have a donation as number 3. The board pulled together some money for the retirement plaque for Dr. Lesneski, and wanted to give that to the Ag Club and their leadership for the Ag Club leader for making that plaque. Any questions for Susan under financial items 1 through 3? No? Okay. We have, this time of year, we have a lot of personnel items. We will be making some changes to that for Tuesday's meeting. We will be adding 4 names of resignations, and then, is that LPN?
So on the LPN RFP, we have on there who to award it to, but if for some reason they're not able to fill that position for the start of school, I'd like to go back to the one that we're using this year, because they do have someone lined up and ready. So if we can't get the lowest response to fulfill it, then permission to move to the next one.
So we'll be adding.
I'll just add that wording.
And we'll be adding a few resignations and then some changes to wording on LPN. But number 1 is the substitute list. Number 2 is a resignation, and we'll be adding a couple names for resignations. Then we have hiring of cafeteria worker and special ed, and then hiring several of professional positions. The names will be provided for our Tuesday voting meeting, and we were briefed on some of these items during our executive personnel session. And then we have appointments for supplemental positions under number 5, A and B. And my fingers still work here. We have put a big star in a circle around number 6. This is agreement of the, I'm sorry, that's the Nurses Association. Where's the contract at?
Number 14.
Number 14, that's the one I started circled. All right, so we have nurses under 6. We have LPN, which we're going to make that potential edit to on number 7. With number 8, special education CPI training. And we have to discontinue the 2 positions that Mr. Gold are filling. That's number 9. And then we have tenure to acknowledge 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teachers and congratulate them. We're going to name Mrs. Richardson as the acting elementary principal until that position is filled. And we may have a name to hire an elementary principal for Tuesday, hire an assistant principal at the high school on Tuesday. And then 14, would like to congratulate our bargaining team of Chad and Dee Dee and Doug, and then also the union's bargaining team. And we have a contract that was agreed upon by the union and will be voted on and agreed by us on Tuesday. So that is a lot of personnel items. I'll be happy to discuss any of them. Any questions? No. Okay. And Larry, I think there is going to be a statement for the union agreement for Tuesday
Yep.
She got it to you already.
Yeah, she said.
Okay. If you want a quote or 2 from Chad or Dr. K, we'll add one.
Okay.
All right.
That sounds good.
Thank you. Okay. No questions on personnel then? All right. Then we'll be doing special committee reports. Do we have anything from Bob or Doug from Jeff Tech?
Our meeting is until next Monday, I believe.
Yeah, to look on my calendar. Yeah, it's a week away. Just 10 days away.
And then Dee Dee, anything from IU6?
No, there wasn't really much of anything, just regular business. Next meeting is Wednesday, August 27th.
Okay. We have no communications that were presented to us, I don't believe. And then we'll go through the payment and approve the payment of the bills unless there's questions for Susan on any of those items. I probably should have mentioned 200 personnel. We may need to have a special public voting meeting in August to clean up any hires that we can't get done on Tuesday. So if we have positions, like all those positions that we may not have names for every one of them, we may need to schedule a public meeting sometime in August to clean that stuff up. Right, Dr. K?
Yes, please.
Okay. Anything for new business? Hearing none, we will adjourn for this evening. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Dee.